As parents, we often have gut feelings when something just isn't right. This can be especially true in co-parenting arrangements where one parent is struggling with addiction. If you're co-parenting with an ex-spouse who abuses alcohol, SoberLink can help. SoberLink's alcohol monitoring system is the most convenient, reliable, and reasonable way for a parent to provide evidence that they are not drinking during parenting time. The system's real-time alerts, facial recognition, and tamper detection ensure the integrity of each test, so you can be confident your kids are with a sober parent. With SoberLink, judges can rest assured that your child is safe, attorneys get court-admissible evidence of sobriety, and your kids are able to maintain healthy relationships with both parents. To sign up, we have a special offer for Her Empowered Divorce listeners to get $50 off your device. Visit www.soberlink.com/empowered. Hi, beautiful. I am so glad you're here with me today on the Her Empowered Divorce podcast. So many women that I have talked to who are divorcing or divorced face the dilemma of what to do about health insurance. They may have been on their husband's policy and will soon need to get their own. It comes right up as a huge financial decision. Whether you are over 65 and on Medicare, or whether you're younger and looking for private insurance, your research, support people, and choices become critical. In the past, health insurance wasn't that big a deal, but as you know, today it really is. And because of that, I wanted to do a podcast episode on this topic. So I am tickled to death to have my guest today, who is Beverly Artis. She is an insurance agency with Charter Financial Group of Carolinas. And I can personally testify that she is a great agent because she has helped me with mine. I am so glad to have you, Beverly. How you doing?
Thank you, Beverly. I'm doing well. Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to explain the ins and outs of health insurance, especially when it comes to something that a spouse has never had to deal with before, and then what the steps are. So I'll be able to go through everything.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
So what are the options these days for health insurance after divorce?
Yeah, so there really are only three options. One would be COBRA, meaning if you're still separated within that 1 year, some states have that 1 year separation before divorce. Or if the spouse just allows you to stay on, you then are on what's called COBRA, COBRA. So COBRA basically means you get the exact same coverage as what you have currently, except the employer is no longer picking up their match. So you're paying, I would say, double what you would have paid previously. So it can be very expensive. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay. Another option would be just going onto the marketplace individually and looking up, healthcare.gov and trying to find a plan that way, which is what I help a lot of people with. Or if you're working and you've opted out of your own employer's group plan, you are able to jump on that, and that could be your health insurance.
I found, but before I went on Medicare, I went to the marketplace, and I found that, and even Medicare, terribly confusing. There were so many options, so many deductibles, so many copays. I didn't know what was the best deal. Is that the kind of thing that you help people with?
That is exactly what I help with, yes. So I am trained and certified to understand the plans. You would basically just tell me the most important things, your doctors, your medications, income, things like that. And then that's my job to help explain a couple options so that it makes it much easier for you.
Oh, yeah, I know that's been a great thing for us. So if I get divorced, heaven forbid. Now, let's say if someone else gets divorced, because I don't want to jinx my wonderful marriage, right? So if someone else gets divorced, let's say Jane, can she stay on her husband's work policy after the divorce is final?
Okay, so after the divorce is final, she cannot. She would automatically be pushed onto COBRA, and she would have 36 months on COBRA unless she decided to go elsewhere. But other than that, if you are divorced, the spouse will kick you off as a dependent. You're no longer a dependent, and you'd be on your own. Kids can be a little bit different. They could stay on, or they can come off with the spouse.
So typically, what age do the kids come off?
The kids have to come off at 26.
Okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
at 26, they'll have to do their own thing, whether they're working or going on the marketplace. But if they're young children, then they can definitely stay on that spouse's employer coverage, or they would most likely qualify for Medicaid or CHIP through the state. So they would be covered. Mm-hmm.
Let's say that I was on my husband's policy. Mm-hmm. We've divorced. I work. Mm-hmm. Can I get on my current employer's plan at any time during the year?
Yes. So there is a special election period that is meant for people who are legally separated or divorced, and that can be enrolled at any time of the year. The only stipulation is you had to have lost coverage, which is most of the case that you would lose coverage. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you couldn't be on COBRA, or you would stop COBRA, I guess.
You would stop COBRA and get on, yes, correct.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So if, and that's if I'm employed, if my husband, if my husband's on Medicare and I'm not 65, then I'm on private insurance, right?
Yeah.
So then you'd be looking at the marketplace.
Correct.
Okay. Now, when does somebody go on to Medicare, and how did they do that?
When does someone go on to Medicare? So you're on Medicare if you are 65 and older and you've worked at least 10 years of your life, or if you are disabled, you can be on Medicare early as long as you've been disabled for 24 months. There is a different situation to where if you've never worked, in some of the older generations, maybe the woman stayed at home and raised the children. Right. If she never worked but was married to a man who did work and put in his time and is eligible for Medicare, even divorced, that woman would still be able to have Medicare through her husband's work credits. So that's very important.
As long as she's 65.
As long as she's eligible for Medicare, yeah. So mainly 65, yep. Correct. Or disabled, but mainly 65, yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. What happens to the woman that can't afford the COBRA? Because I know one time I was on it, and it is outrageous.
It is outrageous, yeah. It's definitely not what I would recommend doing. If you cannot afford COBRA, then when you go onto the marketplace, they have a lot of subsidies available to especially one-person households. So if you lost your coverage and now you're down income, right? You have a loss of income, you would qualify for either free or very low-cost health insurance. They do subtract the subsidy by a lot, and it's all based on income.
Are you in the middle of or struggling with life after divorce? Do you ever find yourself feeling angry, overwhelmed, lonely, or sad? It's completely normal to experience a range of emotion, but here's the good news. You are not alone, and help is available. Hi, I'm Beverly Price, host of the Her Empowered Divorce podcast. As a certified divorce and empowerment coach with over 25 years of experience, I help women navigate divorce, feel supported, and build more fulfilling life afterwards. Every week, I feature industry-leading guests who share their expertise and provide practical tips. I offer valuable insights and empowering strategies that will help you regain your confidence and create the life you deserve, just like I did in my divorce. I also address the roller coaster of emotions that often accompany this journey. So join me every Monday as we release a new episode of the Her Empowered Divorce podcast. Tune in for the help you need to make informed decisions, find the right support, and embrace the possibilities that lie ahead. Subscribe today and never miss an episode. And I think that's so critical because anytime a couple divorces, obviously two people coming from an income is a lot less money than two people together. So
Absolutely.
keeping that in mind, navigating this reporting income and all of those kinds of things, I think just like many attorneys and divorce professionals recommend somebody like me, a divorce coach, to guide someone through the divorce process, I think the health insurance process is so confusing that it's awesome that you do it. Now, do you charge for your service?
No, not at all.
Even better. Wow.
Free service.
Free service. That's amazing.
Yes.
So if you're on Medicare and divorce, does your Medicare eligibility get affected?
No. So Medicare is individualized. It has nothing to do with being married. So you and your own Medicare would be on its own. And like I had mentioned, if you've never worked but your spouse did, you can qualify for Medicare. Medicare, like I said, is individualized, which means that if you went from a 2-person household to a 1-person household and your income is lower now, you may even qualify for assistance with your Part B premium. Yeah, so it depends on each state. It's a little bit different. But the loss of income could help you be able to afford Medicare a little bit easier.
Now, do you help folks nationwide or locally?
I do.
Okay.
Yes, mainly locally in the Carolinas, but I am licensed in a lot of other states, and if someone would approach me from a state that I'm not licensed in, it's a very easy process to get licensed. It takes about 2 days. So would be open to meeting with anyone in the nation.
What do you think is the scariest thing for a woman that's divorcing and health insurance? What do you think?
The scariest thing is it would be to think that all this time I've just been covered and I've never had to worry about health insurance, right? Normally maybe the husband had just really great employer coverage and it's not something she ever had to worry about before. And the stipulations of health insurance that is extremely expensive and you'll be penalized for not having it, right?
Gotcha.
So I would just say to take a deep breath. There are options, especially the lower the income, the more options there are. And if you aren't working and you have high income because maybe you work for yourself, then even better. There are still subsidies that go into play even if you are a single household income.
Oh, wow. That's fantastic. Now, what happens if you divorce and the court says that you have to insure the children that your husband wants? How does that handle? Is that just a part of your process?
It is a part of the process. So when it comes to the marketplace through healthcare.gov, you can put that you are a 3-person household, and then it would ask for the ages. And it's not very expensive to insure children. Or if you are more of a lower income because you lost income, it's very easy for children to be approved for Medicaid, and a lot of children with single parents are on Medicaid. So that's very common.
And one thing I want to say to everybody is being on Medicaid is nothing to be ashamed of.
No,
absolutely nothing. It is something that, as being an American, you have a right to. And I think the other thing I see in a lot of clients is, part of the divorce process is gathering all your financial information, your income, your debt, your assets, and those kinds of things. And many women become overwhelmed because perhaps their husband has handled all the finances, or perhaps there's just too much information that's overwhelming. And they may feel inside shame or feel stupid or incompetent. And I would think approaching insurance, as complicated as it is, could bring up the same feelings, right?
Yeah.
So how do you deal with women that are feeling that?
So I would always say that if you're going through a change in your life, such as divorce, and you don't even know where to begin, all you can start to do is just pick up the pieces, right? Get the help that you qualify for in the beginning to get yourself where you need to be. That's what I would recommend. It does not matter. Medicaid, there's a lot of people on Medicaid, and like I said, most children are on Medicaid. Just take it. Let your children have full health insurance coverage. It is good. It is good. Yeah, that's pretty much all I would say.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Now,
Yeah.
one of the things I like to talk about is the emotions around divorce, the overwhelm, the stress. How can you really help a divorced woman deal with those? Deal with the overwhelm and the stress?
Yeah, so one thing that I'm really good at is taking it off my client's plate, basically. You just give me some info that I need, and I will find the best option for you. If you tell me to choose, I will even choose the plan for you, send it over, you sign for it, it's done. I will make sure that process is off of your plate. And then every year, if there's claims that are denied or something comes up, or maybe you have a new doctor, a new medication, you call me. You email me, I'll be there.
So if I get this right, you help with the overwhelm, understanding the complexity and all the variations of health insurance. You guide people through the process, and there's no cost to use you.
Correct.
Seems
there's
like
no
a
cost.
slam dunk to me.
I would agree, yes.
I just, I go through so many clients that are so overwhelmed that I think anything we can do to help take things off their plate and help them feel confident that loose ends are taken care of, the better.
Yeah, especially when there's a divorce involving children under 26. That brings a whole new level of stress because your children are not covered, right? So I can definitely help relieve that stress.
Unless the husband's going to cover them.
Which is best case scenario.
Yes.
Right? If they're going to continue to cover, yes. Let's choose
Absolutely.
that. That's first. But, as you know, not every divorce is as smooth or as nice as that, right? So
Yes.
if there is some, pettiness involved, then I will handle the children. I will get them on what they need to get on.
That sounds great. So one of the things I like to ask all my guests is for 3 things that the women in the audience can do right away to either summarize what you're talking about or actions they can take as next steps. So what are some of your thoughts on what those steps might be?
Yeah, honestly, I would say if you're going through divorce, the health insurance should not be a priority that is high stress, right? Get your other ducks in a row first. Make sure your finances are where they need to be. Make sure that you can leave the situation in the best way possible. When it comes to health insurance, call me, and I will make sure that is done, right? So my call to action would be, don't worry about the health insurance. You are going to be covered. It is going to be affordable. And you can do it on your own. You don't need a spouse to cover you for health insurance. You can do it on your own.
Okay. Gosh, that sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
So how can people get in touch with you? What's the best way?
Yeah, so phone call. I have my phone on me 24/7. So you can
Why don't
call
you
me.
tell them your phone number, and I'll also
Yes.
have all her information in the show notes.
Okay, yeah. My phone number is 843-353-4209. I'm a big texter. I love when my clients text me also. It gives me some time to reply. But if not, leave me a message, leave me a voicemail, or by email. My email is Bailey, Bailey, at cfgcarolina.com, and I'll respond within 1 business day.
Oh, that's fantastic. So, and to everybody, I'll have all that information as well as mine in the show notes, so don't worry about not having it. We will cover that. Bailey, is there anything else you'd like to share that I've forgotten to ask you?
You really did cover it. You covered
Okay.
what ifs. What if you can't stay on the employer plan? What if you can't afford COBRA? What if you're on Medicare? And really just that's my problem to deal with. You come to me saying, I'm getting divorced, I need insurance, and I will handle it from there.
Wow, what a great deal. Thank you so much for being with me today. I really enjoyed it, and I think this was such great information to help divorcing and divorced women to really take away the overwhelm and reduce their stress, which we all need.
Yes.
Absolutely.
One less thing to worry about.
Yeah. So we will have the audio version of this podcast on my website, herempowereddivorce.com/podcast, or wherever you listen to your normal podcast platform. We also have a video version on our YouTube channel, which is called Her Empowered Divorce. Please like and subscribe wherever you listen, and leave us a good review. A 5-star review would be great, because that way we can reach out and help more women who need this kind of information and need this kind of support. Thank you so much for being with Bailey and myself today on the Her Empowered Divorce podcast. Stay tuned for our future episodes where you're learning more about the information that helps prepare you for divorce. I'd like to once again say thank you and take care. Thank you for listening to the Her Empowered Divorce podcast. Remember, divorce doesn't have to be a death sentence. With the right support and guidance, you can move through the process with knowledge, skills, and confidence. And it can also be a time of growth and empowerment. A divorce and empowerment coach is an invaluable member of your divorce team. I help you understand and navigate the process, come to terms with your emotions, avoid costly mistakes, find your true voice, and create an empowered life post-divorce. If you're interested in learning more, schedule a free consultation at herempowereddivorce.com. And be sure to check out my other episodes of Her Empowered Divorce podcast and resources on my website or wherever you listen to podcasts. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. This will help me reach out to more women in the same space so you are not so alone. I appreciate your support. Until next time, take care and stay empowered.